Good day everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Jeremy and thank you very much for checking out this video. Welcome to a throwback edition of On the Disc, a video series on my channel where I show you what is on the discs of a Blu-ray release that I have, more often than not, done a separate honest unboxing video of on my channel. Today we go back to the year 2015, so to speak, as I show you what was on the discs of Nadia, The Secret of Blue Water, released by Animatsu Entertainment in the UK and, based on the logos I can see on the packaging and the discs themselves, was also released by Sentai Filmworks around the same time. Now I will say, as I mentioned, if you want to see an unboxing of this set, a throwback unboxing if you will, you can find that video right now here on my channel. But today we are focusing what is on the discs of this release from 2015. So without further ado, let's get straight onto things and move on to disc 1. And I will note before going any further that the discs I am showing you are the UK Region B version release. So as you can see here on the main menu, it's a pretty simple layout, which I get a feeling will be echoed across all of the 5 discs in this release. On this disc 1, which I will say, I do love the imagery they have used. The menu design, I mean, it is what it is. I can't really knock it, to be fair. It's a very clean and simple menu, but you get the first 9 episodes on this disc. When it comes to language options, there are 2 options on here. You have English and Japanese with English subtitles. I will note from the get-go that the default language is English, and the way that this menu works is a little bit confusing, admittedly, which was the case back around that time with Sentai releases and arguably some since then. But basically, whatever is highlighting in white, as you can see, is what you are hovering over that you can then click on. So you can't actually, in this menu, go up to English. I am pushing up on my remote at the moment, and it won't let me go up. So if I wanted to change the option, I would have to just click on Japanese with English subtitles. That is now enabled, and you can now see it will default to highlighting English when you go back there. Additionally, if I try and go down to the back button, it will then automatically go back to the main menu. So a bit of, I'll call it a funky layout and the way it works. And so it just takes a few moments to sort of get your head around. But once you've got your head around it, it's totally fine. But for the purposes of showing off a few things on this disc, let's switch this back to English. And now I'm going to load up the first episode to give you a glimpse as to how some of those subtitles, the on-screen subtitles and such, will appear. So here you can see we are in the opening credits of the first episode. I've jumped forward a little bit to this, and you get a glimpse as to how those on-screen subtitles will appear for you. I will note, like, I'm totally fine with it being yellow subtitles and a black outline. Admittedly, when it comes to the outline, also, that's interesting how they kind of got stylized text there. I did not realize that was going to be a thing. Now, when it comes to the subtitles, obviously the show is in 4:3. You can see it retaining its aspect ratio there with the pillar boxing at the side, the black bars as it were. The subtitles, I don't know if it's just me, they kind of seem a little bit uncharacteristically high on the screen. I'm not entirely sure how to articulate that better, but in terms of placement, it's a little bit on the high side. And also, as you can see there, it kind of goes outside of the picture as well. So it will be interesting to see if that potentially goes across the screen further when there's lots of dialogue. So I'll be interested to see how that works out long term. But with that being said, I'm going to jump forward now to the opening title card of the episode. So there is the first title card of the episode for you, having just jumped forward to that episode slightly. In terms of how the actual footage is looking on this disc, picture quality is looking really, really solid to me. I have not seen the more recent release, as it were, that has currently at time of recording been made available in North America, so I can't compare to that, but I will allow you folks to do that in the comments and such. But this looks really, really solid. I'm really liking how this is coming across on these discs, and that's a good indication there as to how the picture quality looks. What I'm going to do now is show you how the pop-up menu will look in the context of this disc, which basically just brings up the functionality from the main menu, quite frankly, with one slight difference in that there is a close button at the bottom, which if I just simply highlight that just closes the pop-up menu instantly. You can obviously, as you can see, flick between the episodes and change the language as we go. For the purposes of this, let's switch it to Japanese with English subtitles so we can get a glimpse as to how the subtitles will look. So we can see there that the subtitles are kind of, in fact, they're also quite large. I'm not sure if that's just Okay, so here's a good example as to what I was saying about the placement of the subtitles. It kind of seems like they're just a bit higher up the screen than maybe I'm just used to. It's not a deal breaker, it's kind of just something you need to get used to, but they are on the higher side of the of where they appear on screen. That said, from a size point of view, I don't have an issue with the text being on the larger end of the spectrum, quite frankly. If anything, I kind of encourage that in some cases. So I have zero issue with the text being a bit on the larger side. But yeah, like that's another example where it just feels like it's taking up a lot of the screen real estate in terms of the height placement on screen. So interesting to note on that front. But now what I'm going to do, I'm going to jump forward a little bit more so we can get a glimpse as to how the ending title sequence looks in this episode. So we're now at the ending title sequence to this episode, and you can get an idea there from the placement of the subtitles that something's a little bit weird. I'm not going to say it's off, it's just I'm not used to it, because normally there's kind of, just in terms of placement, it's normally just a bit lower. That's all I mean. Not a deal breaker by any means. I'm sure I'll get used to it within a couple of episodes of watching it and such, but there is a good indication as to how these subtitles will look on there accordingly. So just to demonstrate some more of the functionality of this disc, that's a little bit weird how the subtitles look there, but again, not a problem, as it were. So we've got the pop-up menu. Let's jump forward now to the second episode so we can see how the functionality of this works accordingly. So straight in on the title sequence, and what you can also now see here is that the subtitles are flip-flopping between being the Romaji subtitles, i.e. the Japanese words written out in English so you can pronounce the lyrics, and the actual translation of the lyrics themselves. You can see the yellow subtitles there displaying the Romaji subtitles. And what I will do now, just to show another compare and contrast, is I will now jump forward to episode 3, and if I'm correct, it will flip-flop back to the English translation. There we go, we're now on episode 3 and it has started showing the English translation. So that will likely flip-flop from episode to episode. So that's a nice little touch there to see that it was implemented. And just for the sake of continuity as well now, I'm going to go back to episode 2 and show you the closing title sequence subtitles. On the episode 2 closing sequence now, and there you go, there are how the Romaji subtitles look on that accordingly. So from there, I think we've just about covered our bases when it comes to disc 1, so let's motor on and get on to disc 2. We are now on the menu for disc 2, and as you can see, kind of a very similar layout, sans a different key visual art being used here on the main menu. This disc contains episodes 10 through 18, exactly the same functionality as we saw on disc 1 when it comes to how to change the languages and such. So honestly, probably not much more to note when it comes to this episode specifically, but just for the sake of showing off how things will appear, let's now select Japanese with English subtitles, and picking an episode at random, episode 13. So once again, straight into the episode title sequence here, gonna jump forward to the first scene in the episode. So get a good indication here as to how the picture quality is looking once again, and I love watching older anime like this. It's just got such a great feel about it. Again, the subtitles, looking at it now in this context, they do seem a bit on the larger side. I know I said it doesn't bother me as much, and you can see them going off screen a little bit there. It's just, it's weird to get used to. I'm sure in general I will gradually get used to it. They do just seem unnaturally large, in my opinion, just kind of the sizing of them. Not a deal breaker. Again, it's just I need to get my brain used to that, if that makes sense. So just a random note, should you be wanting to acquire this set yourself in the second-hand market and whatnot, because this set has been long out of print, I should also add. So with that being said, let's start moving on to disc 3, because we have wrapped up with disc 2. So here we are on the main menu of disc 3. As you can see, similar layout, though they have changed it up slightly to accommodate the key art they have utilised as the background image. This disc has got episodes 19 to 27 as the episodes included, and of course the languages option operates the same as we have seen before. I'm going to activate Japanese with English subtitles, and just for the sake of consistency of showing you a little bit of the disc and such, let's just go with an episode at random. So let's go with episode 24. I've jumped forward to the first scene. Potential spoilers abound in the subtitles, so keep that in mind. But yeah, once again, these subtitles just appear to be a bit on the larger end of the spectrum. I'm still trying to get used to that. You can tell it's definitely caught my eye, as it were. It's just they seem a bit unnaturally large, but I'm not gonna flog a dead horse, so to speak, at this point. So we shall live with that. But once again, footage is looking all right. It's an older anime, so can't expect it to look perfect, as it were, but I'm still very happy on the whole with how this is looking at a quick glance. So with that being said, folks, I'm now going to jump forward and we're going to move on to disc 4. So we are now on disc 4, and as you can see, menu layout has changed slightly once again to accommodate that wonderful key visual you can see on the screen there. Episodes on this disc are 28 through to 36. And once again, just for the sake of continuity, just going to pick an episode at random with the full English subtitles accompanying Japanese audio selected. We will go with episode 29, just so I can give you a glimpse as to how the footage is looking. Jumping forward to the opening scene of the episode here. Once again, still looking really, really great on the picture quality front. Very, very happy with this. Again, I'm still trying to get used to the size of these subtitles. I know I keep mentioning it. I'm going to try not to for the rest of the video now, I promise you. But it is just something I can't avoid because they are so present on the screen. Do let me know if you agree with me. Am I overemphasizing this, or is that just it is what it is, as it were? Be very interested to know what other people think. But with that being said, folks, let's motor on to the 5th and final disc in this set. So we are on the 5th and final disc, and already got to say, love that key visual that I see on screen. Also, menu layout is slightly different as well, you will notice, as we have got the final 3 episodes on the disc. Language options as per normal, and we've also got a special features menu. Let's see what's on here. So we have got a clean version of the opening title sequence, clean version of the closing title sequence, a Japanese promo, a Japanese spot, also available on Blu-ray, which I'm gonna guess is either Animatsu or Sentai based trailers, and then some disc credits as well. So I'll give you a quick glimpse then. Let's have a look at the clean opening animation. So we're at the clean opening, folks, and I can already tell picture quality is not as crisp, to say the least, as the actual episodes themselves. Could well be because this was the best source that they had for the clean opening itself. Not a deal breaker by any means, just a little bit of a shame, to say the least. But I guess back then, that is what they had available. I will also note that there are 2 versions of this clean opening title sequence. There's basically a point in the opening where the footage will differ slightly, and it kind of just varies depending on where the story has progressed to, as it were. So there is a notable difference, which I won't show on here just for the sake of trying to avoid spoilers and such. But just know that there are 2 versions of the opening included on this disc. In terms of pop-up functionality, for anybody curious, there is no pop-up menu. I am clicking the button right now, nothing is happening. So with that being said, I'm just going to jump back straight to the title menu. Next up, clean closing animation. And here we are, clean closing animation. Already you can see a big difference there. Picture quality wise, I think it's on par with the clean opening that we saw a moment ago in terms of the picture quality. So yeah, make of that what you will, but still cool to have this included on the disc though. Really, really nice to see. Next up, Japanese promo. So something a little bit different, which I didn't realise was actually on this set, so that's really cool. This is basically a 5-minute video, which appears to be a promotional advert, hence the phrase Japanese promo, from NHK TV, as it were, sort of going into a little bit of the show and stuff. So this is really cool to see that this has been included, and it kind of gives you a glimpse as to how they were previewing the show as well in the run up to its original airing. So that's really, really cool to see. I've jumped forward a bit further into this promo video here, and again, it's just cool to see how they were pushing it on NHK TV. So were you to get hold of those subtitles, that makes sense why they're really high up on the screen. So there you go. There's a lot of subtitles going on there. Either way, really, really cool to see this has been included on this set. Next up, a Japanese spot, which I'm guessing is going to be a commercial of some kind. So yeah, this is about a 30-second or so mini television spot, just pushing the TV show ahead of its release, quite frankly, ahead of its airing, I should say. And it is subtitled as well, which is really, really cool to see. So again, a nice little way to see how they were pushing the show ahead of its original broadcast. Really cool to see. Also available on Blu-ray. Let's see what we got in this section then. Oh, we actually get to choose the trailers, there you go. So we've got trailers for Girls and Panzer, From the New World, Kokoro Connect, and Little Busters. And you can see there it mentions Sentai Filmworks. So these are specifically Sentai Filmworks licenses at the time of this release. And then finally, we've got disc credits. And there, they just appear on the side of the screen. I was expecting something else to load up. Clearly, I was wrong. By the way, nice to see who was involved in the making of this disc as well. So with that being said, everybody, thank you so much for checking out this video. I hope you've enjoyed it and you found it interesting and or useful. I will say that when it comes to this sort of throwback concept of an on the disc video, it's something I wanted to try for a while, and I don't know if it will be a regular occurrence, as it were. It may partly be dependent on if folks like yourself watching this would like to see more throwback style on the disc videos like this, because I enjoy making them and such. So if it is of interest, do let me know in the comments, because that may determine how often they may appear. I will say as well, when it comes to these discs, I appreciate some of it I kind of did breeze over because there wasn't much more to discuss. If you do have a specific question about something relating to these discs, please let me know in the comments. I'll be more than happy to delve into the discs further and answer you accordingly directly. Once again, thank you so much for watching this video, and until my next one, take care and have a nice day.